Welcome to Season 5 of Where I Long to Be, a magical trip report podcast. My name is Virginia, and I am your host. If this is your first time tuning in, this show is almost exclusively dedicated to trip reports from Disney and Universal destinations around the globe. I hope that you will consider subscribing to the show on the podcast platform you are listening on now. And while you're at it, please give me a follow on all of the socials. Instagram is where I am the most active, but I also have Facebook and TikTok. Based on the nature of this show, I am always looking for people with trips coming up. I am currently looking for those who might be traveling in October and beyond. And the sooner you submit your trip for consideration, the better. You can find the Be Our Guest link to apply on my website, which is whereilongtobepodcast.com. And now, let's get to the first pre-trip report of Season 5. Let's have a warm welcome for Garrett and Haley, aka the Duckworths. Welcome to the podcast to the Duckworths, who are Duckworths to Disney on Instagram.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, hello. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
I am very excited to talk to the two of you because Garrett, your mom is like a super fan of the podcast.
Yes, my mom adores you. She's the one who suggested that we come and talk with you. And I know she sends me pretty much every podcast that you post online. She sends to me and she's like, give it a listen. And she's been doing that since I think you started making podcasts.
And
so
I think
truly.
The first time that we started coming to Disney, she was like, you guys should go talk to her. Like, Virginia, she's awesome. And we're like, okay, we'll finally do it. So we're excited to be here, and we know she is excited that we're here too.
Oh, yeah. Special shout out to Denise. She has been literally from the very beginning listening, commenting, sending little messages of encouragement, and she's the best. So I thank her for sending you my way. And let's talk about what you're doing here and sort of your background, because I am unclear about what came first, her love of Disney or yours.
That's a great question. I think probably it happened at the same time. I took a trip for my 18th birthday. We took let me rephrase this. We took multiple trips when I was growing up, but I don't remember any of them. The only trip that I do remember is for my 18th birthday. We went to Disney, and it was supposed to be a once-in-a-lifetime trip. And then we just kept doing it over and over again. And that is what sparked my love of Disney. When Haley and I met,
we took another once-in-a-lifetime trip. Our first trip here together was in 2021, right when the parks opened back up.
Mm-hmm.
And Denise, bless her, allowed us to get a VIP tour. And we once in a lifetime did it up. And then now we're annual pass holders.
Yeah, it's a gateway, right?
It is a gateway. My mom actually purchased a DVC contract for us as well. She did that 2 years ago. And so ever since she purchased that with our annual pass and our DVC, we haven't done a trip that wasn't a DVC related trip since then. And it's been wonderful. Like such an awesome experience that we get.
Yeah.
What a blessing.
Back to your question, it's kind of like a chicken and egg thing. Like, who knows which one goes first?
Well, I think that what always sort of resonated with me when because she would mention you and say, I really want them to come on, they're such Disney fans, is that it, regardless of who started it, you can point fingers all you want, but it just seemed like something that was a connection for all of you, and that was really giving you a lot of joy and family memories and all of that. So what a gift to be able to have that to share as a love, but also to be able to literally have given you this gift of many, many years of memories to come.
Yes, we're very, very lucky, and we have enjoyed it so much. And there's not a year that's passed that we haven't used our points. So we come and we enjoy it, and we're always looking for like new ways to utilize them and get new experiences. And so it's really, really been awesome. We're very thankful.
Had you thought about DVC before she got you this incredible gift?
No, I honestly thought that I didn't think I would be an annual pass holder when I first started coming to Disney, only because I thought that I would maybe come once a year and it would just not make sense to do annual pass. And then I believe the first time that Haley and I came, it was such a wonderful experience to be able to share something that I truly love with someone that I love. And so that changed the trip for me to be just like, instead of being just a fun little weekend getaway, it's now like one of the most special and precious things that I have. So we started trying to find ways to go every 3 months. And the reason that it's every 3 months is because I'm a travel nurse and my contracts are 13 weeks. So what we had been doing and what we did for about 2.5, 3 years was I would take a contract, I would work 13 weeks, save up for the trip, and then we would go to Disney for a week. And then I would take another contract, work my 13 weeks, go to Disney for a week. So when we started doing the math, it just didn't make sense to not have an annual pass.
Right.
We were saving money in the long run with an annual pass. And I think what my mom saw is that we were going consistently every 3 to 4 months and having the best time. And so I think that's when she decided to get us the DVC package, was because we really were utilizing our annual passes. But I never in a million years expected to have DVC.
Yeah. And especially as an out of state annual pass holder, that is very pricey. And so to be able to purchase the next level down because of having DVC, it makes it much more doable.
Oh, it saved, I believe the price is cut in half, actually, because we would had to do the Incredipass, and now we have the Sorcerer Pass.
Right. And I'm so afraid to let my my pass go because I'm afraid they'll just stop letting people get them again, because that happened for a while.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
I'm just like, renew, please, renew, please. And but really, truly, if you are going, a certain number of days a year, which is not that hard to do if you go twice a year, it makes it worth it. So anyway, Haley, what about you? Was your first trip with Garrett your very first trip to a Disney park ever?
Yes. So I grew up playing softball, and playing softball is what I did. So I never really even had a vacation that wasn't, we're going to this place and we're going to play a tournament and then we're going home, and we don't really have much time for fun.
Right.
So I never even dreamt that I would be going to Disney World, let alone especially be an annual pass holder in DVC. So that was my first trip, and I mean, it's been awesome ever since. I don't think so. I wasn't sold on the first one. I was like, yeah, I guess we'll go back. And then, okay, we're people that we at one point had an all-inclusive trip booked to Mexico, I believe it was, because I was like, well, I want to do something that's not Disney World. And then at the last minute, I was like, what if we get bored? And so we ended up going to Disney World. And so that's where we are. We enjoy it. We have a lot of fun. There's never a dull moment. We can do whatever. And yeah, that's how we got here. And I fell in love with it too.
Yeah. And there's always something new to do. Like, as many times as I've been, I always find something new. It's one of those places where you can kind of do anything you feel like doing. Like, you can run around and run yourself ragged, but you can also chill.
Yeah, and that's been something that we've really had to like almost force ourselves to do, is to chill because we get in those zones where we need to go, like, go, 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 go. We're rope dropping. We'll take maybe an hour nap in the middle of the day, and then we go, 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 go until we're just burnt. And then so we really had to kind of focus on, taking a breath here and there and having a relaxing day, whatever that is.
I think that was part of why you were originally hesitant about Disney, was because our first trip was a 4-day trip, and we stayed at the Contemporary because that's my mom's favorite resort. And she got us a VIP tour guide. And so I believe every single day on that 4-day trip, we rope dropped and then ended with some type of nighttime show, whether that was fireworks, Phantasmic, something like that. So we had 13, 14-hour days every single day of those 4 days. And when we got back, I remember Haley was like, I need a vacation. And I was like, we just had one. That was it, you know? And so now when we go on these trips, since we go so frequently, we're able to relax and enjoy much more of just being there. And that's part of what I really love about Disney World, is not one particular thing, but it's more about the ambiance and about just being in a place it's very clean, it's very safe, and I can just sit there and relax. And I think that is something that has always stood out to me. But now that we take these more frequent trips, we're able to do that every single trip.
And we can like push ourselves to try new things. So we have been trying to find, you know, a new restaurant we haven't been to, or maybe there's a new experience. Like, we're coming up on Garrett's birthday. I'm sure we'll talk about it in just a little bit, but we have something new planned for that too. And so just, you know, the frequency helps us be able to expand our horizons.
I think that most people who dive into the world of DVC or start getting an annual pass get to that point, but it takes a little bit to get there, because even when you have that, when you first go back, you still have that mindset of like, I've got to do everything. I've got to do everything. And then every time you go, it gets a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more relaxed. And then you finally are to the point where you're like, I'm just going to roll up into the park and buy popcorn, and then I'm going to head back out. It's fine.
Right, exactly. And that's what we got here a couple of days ago. We're staying in a furnish finder for a couple of days before we start our actual vacation. And we've been going just for dinner, like getting a random quick service and enjoying that, and then heading back.
Yeah. So you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing right now and why you're in Orlando.
So right now we're staying at an Airbnb or a furnish finder for a week, and then we are going to the Riviera. And the reason that we're doing this is I have had this crazy idea to move to Orlando, specifically for Disney World. And, you know, it's always the most fun and the most relaxing experience. But I wanted to see what everyday life would be more like, rather than having the most perfect days at our resort in our bubble and seeing what it's like more of just living down here. And so Haley was able to take a week early off of work, and both of us were able to come down and spend a week here in Orlando before we go on our Disney trip. So this is like our pre-Disney trip for our Disney trip that's coming up next week.
Right. Okay. So this is really about everyday life and not experiencing Disney in the way that you might next week, where maybe things are a little bit more loosey-goosey with the budget, where you're like, I'm on vacation, I'm going to do that.
Exactly.
But this is like, we're going to buy groceries and we're going to do normal things. Okay. Yeah. How's it going?
It's going great. So I'm actually not technically off of work for this week. I'm working from home. So I still have my 7 to 3 situation that I'm working here at the kitchen island, and we're going to the gym. We found a gym that we love. We both compete in strongman. So that's a really, really important thing in our life. And one big thing about Oklahoma that we're not quite ready to give up, because our gym community is such a big thing to us. And so we were like, I don't know if we'll find one like that, if there even is a gym with all the equipment that we need, and things like that. And so those are the things that we're trying to explore, and I think we love it. I'm having a good time.
I'm having a great time. I actually called my mom yesterday. We got her a sweater because there was one at Epcot that we loved. But I told her, I was like, if I can just go to Epcot for dinner every night, I would be the happiest person in the world. It was the coolest thing to just basically wait for Haley to get done with work, because I'm not on a contract right now. So I'm unemployed. I'm just waiting until we get back to start my job again. And to just wait until Haley was done with work, show up to Epcot about 4 p.m. We went on Living with the Land, and then we went to Regal Eagle for dinner. And I told my mom, I was like, this is the coolest thing I have ever experienced in my life. Just being able to go to Epcot for 3 hours and then come back to our home.
And our steps are through the roof.
We're getting a ton of steps in every day as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. That sounds like a great evening to me. A little Living with the Land action and some barbecue.
Yes, Absolutely. I love some Regal Eagle.
So if you do relocate, Orlando would be your home base. Would you still be going out on these travel nurse contracts, or would you look for something in the Advent Health system?
So I have worked for Advent Health before. There's a couple hospitals across, I mean, there's more than a couple hospitals, but I have worked for an Advent Health hospital before. So I think the transition for me would be pretty easy. I would definitely not do travel nursing anymore. I would probably find a place to be a core staff nurse if we were to relocate. I have 6 years of experience in critical care. So I think that I would be able to find a job relatively easily, which is one of the beautiful things of being a nurse. And I think if we were to relocate, I would be more comfortable with settling down and starting to work like a core staff job. The reason that I haven't worked a core staff job up to this point was because of the flexibility that travel nursing gave me, where I could work my 13 weeks and then have a week off to come on a vacation. And that to me was the greatest part of my whole nursing gig, was just really not having a ton of constraints around my schedule and just allowing me to have that flexibility. Right. But if we were to relocate, I would probably work at some Orlando health related hospital for sure.
Or they have nurses that work in the park too. I'm not sure if you want to make it your work.
Yeah.
He actually tried to apply for one, but then he had to have had a Florida license, like a driver's license, because he has is it called a compact license for nurses?
It is yes, compact license.
Yeah, so he has that. He could nurse here, but he needed a driver's license.
Got it.
We couldn't just whip one of those up, so.
Okay. Well, that's all exciting to think about and plan for, but I know it at the end of the day will be a very big decision, because it sounds like you have an amazing community where you are. And, that's something to really consider all of the pros and cons for. In the meantime, this is a great little testing ground. So, working our way past your pretend everyday life here, let's talk about your Riviera time. So, you said that this trip was partly for Garrett's birthday. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Is it a round number? And you don't have to tell me how old you are.
Oh, I'm 30. I'm turning 30.
Okay. A nice round number.
The big 3-0.
You're a baby.
I feel like I'm getting old. This is a big one.
Listen, talk to me when you're in your mid-40s. Well, that's very exciting. Okay, so you're going to be at the Riviera from June 11th through 17th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's walk through your plans. So you're not flying in because you're already there.
Exactly.
So you're going to head over as soon as you have your room is ready, I would imagine.
Yes.
What's your first plan on Wednesday the 11th?
Well, so reverse a little bit. We are on the 10th. We have a special birthday trip situation for Garrett.
Okay.
So Denise and I conspired and we got a Savor the Savanna for the 10th at 3:15. And so that's one of those new things that we've been trying to, find something to do. And so we booked that, and we'll be doing that. And we're really excited about it. I don't really even know what to expect. I just know that it's supposed to be super cool. So.
Oh, yeah. I haven't done it yet myself, but I have it on my list of things to do. I just have to decide if I'm going to do it when I have my family in tow or not, because I think my husband would appreciate it. I'm not. Alex would appreciate it. He would appreciate the experience. He's a little bit of a foodie. But are you a fan of the food at places like Boma and Sanaa and that Animal Kingdom food?
Big fans.
Okay.
We actually usually try and go to one or even both every time we come. We don't have it on the docket this time, but Sanaa is one of our favorites, and Boma has worked its way to the top. So
okay. I keep hearing amazing things about their breakfast, so it's on my list. But I want to wait until I'm staying there to do it.
Yes.
We've never done the breakfast. We have only ever done the dinner, but they have an amazing oxtail soup, which I tried the last time we went, and it's phenomenal. It's like a standout item for sure on their buffet.
Yeah. I'm sure you're the same, but I'm trying to work my way around to every single resort. And the only resorts I have not stayed at yet are Yacht Club, Animal Kingdom Lodge, All Star Sports, and All Star Movies. Everything else I've stayed at.
We love an all-star resort. We love an all-star resort. I think, which one have we not stayed at?
We haven't stayed at All Star Movies.
Okay. We've been to all the other ones, and nothing but great reviews from us.
I have a mother-son trip coming up Labor Day weekend, and we're doing the first 2 nights at All Star Sports. So I'm going to tick one more off the list there. And you got to make your way around to all of them and compare and, and then they renovate and you got to go back. And
Right. Yeah. We're not quite as far along in our little journey as you are. I think
you'll get there.
Quite a few. We knocked a few off in a trip not too long ago where we stayed at Saratoga Springs, Old Key West, and another one that we hadn't stayed at all in one go. We were resort hopping.
Yeah. How did you like doing a split stay like that?
Thank God for minivans. I think that's the only way we could have, gone and checked our bags and had them transfer them, but we had dinner reservations that we might have needed to change for and things like that. And so we just ended up ordering a minivan in the morning to take us over and checked our bags with bell services there. And that worked well and things went smoothly, except I lost our park bag. But
oh no, did you find it?
Yes, the van driver came back and brought it back. It was fine. I felt terrible. I've been losing stuff a lot recently. It's a whole thing. But
as long as you still got your mind, Haley, you're fine.
I don't, apparently.
You're like, it's gone. Where is it?
But it was nice. We didn't hate it. I think we're more of a compact resort type of couple. So the ones that are really spread out, like Old Key West and Saratoga Springs and things like that. So
yeah, I don't mind doing a split stay, but I've done one before where I did 3 in 1 trip, and we did like 3 nights at each, which was a good amount of time to be at each, but that's a lot of packing and moving. So I really, if I'm gonna do a split stay, I prefer it to only be 2 resorts, just one move there. And then it's a little bit easier to pack and say, like, this stuff is for the first one, this stuff is for the second. And then my rule with split stays is always upgrade, never downgrade. So start at if you're going to stay at a value resort, start at the value and upgrade to the deluxe, because the other way around, you're like, oh, I missed that deluxe.
That's a great rule of thumb.
Yeah, I made that mistake one time and I was like, what? And it was Pop, which I love now, but it was Pop pre-renovation. And I was just like, this is really depressing. Now it's great.
But the chicken strips are good.
I mean, the chicken strips are good most places in Disney.
That's true.
Yeah, I can't complain about the chicken strips. Okay. All right. So what's happening on June 11th?
So June 11th, we are going to
Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Okay.
We usually
Is that a tradition for you to start there? Okay.
We usually like to start our trips and end our trips in Magic Kingdom. However, Haley and I, the reason that we were running behind today was because we went to Magic Kingdom and we lost track of time. And then it was like, oh, we got to get back to the Airbnb. But Haley and I were talking on our way back, and I think that Magic Kingdom has worked its way down to maybe being my least favorite park right now, which is crazy to think about, but it always feels busier and the dining options are not the best. I do love a good Casey's Corner. Like, don't get me wrong. I think that that's phenomenal. But other than that, I feel like it's a little bit lacking. And today really reinforced that for me. We were only in the park for about a couple hours, but while we were there, I was like, man, I wish we would have gone to Hollywood Studios, because that was our other option for this evening. So I'm still excited to go. We do have lightning lanes planned on the 11th, which definitely helps a ton with Magic Kingdom. And my favorite ride in all of Disney is at Magic Kingdom. So, which is the Winnie the Pooh ride. I think the Winnie the Pooh is my favorite.
That is your favorite. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
You are probably the first person I've ever heard say that.
Yeah. Winnie the Pooh is my favorite character. And I think that the ride is just about as good as it could possibly be. It needs a little love, I think. Definitely, because it's a little bit old, but it's a phenomenal ride.
So you have multi-pass Lightning Lane. Yesterday was your 1 week away. So did you make 3 pre-planned reservations?
Yes.
Guess the first one.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
Yes. I'm usually the one that does all of the Lightning Lane stuff, and I used to have to ask Haley which ones she wanted, but it's to a system now on which ones we get for trips like this. So we always get, or try to always get, the Winnie the Pooh ride, Space Mountain, and then Haunted Mansion. Space Mountain is not, I don't like. It's too bumpy and it's too much for me. Like, I feel like I'm too old to ride it, truthfully, which is crazy. I know, but every time I get off of it, I'm like, I'm never doing this again, ever, as long as I live. But it's one of Haley's favorites, so I always get it, and I always go on it. And I always say it's going to be the last time that I'm going to do it, and then I keep doing it. So
I never say it's going to be the last time, but every time I ride it, it gets progressively bumpier feeling, and I think it is an age thing. And every time I say to myself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? But I never get to the point where I say, I'm not going to do it again. Well, I'm going to reach that day one day, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, Garrett says it every time. And we're opposites in that I am the thrill ride person, and Garrett's like the theme park person. He likes the
vibes.
He likes,
right.
Yes. And I'm like, I want to lose my stomach on a drop, I want the butterflies. So
okay. All right.
I'm definitely a dark ride type of person. Sometimes whenever we go, like if we go to Universal Studios, for example, I don't ride anything because
there's not as much there.
Yeah.
I should say there's not as much there if you're not into thrill rides.
Exactly. Yes. I also get really severe motion sickness. So I've had it my whole life, but I think I turned 25 and I tried to get on a swing, like at a park, and I got so sick. Just so sick from swinging on a swing. And that's how I realized that my child.
Wait, the swing that goes around on its own, or like the self-propelled one where you're using your legs? You got motion sickness on a swing?
I did.
Okay. All right.
And I knew that my childhood was over at that point. So I'm more of a dark ride guy. I love a good theme. The most intense ride, I think, for me is probably Expedition Everest. That one is about the peak of what I like to do.
I mean, that's pretty thrilling.
Yeah, I get sick every single time, but I do it,
Okay. You're able to recover quickly?
Not necessarily quickly, but I recover.
But it doesn't ruin the rest of your day?
No.
Okay.
And we usually, when we go to Animal Kingdom, we usually do Expedition Everest before we watch Festival of the Lion King. So at that point, we've already done Dinosaur and the Safari. So I'm usually good to just sit in a nice room and watch Festival of the Lion King. And then by the time we're finished with it, I'm a regular person again.
Okay. All right. Any dining reservations for this day?
Yes, we have Liberty Tree.
Ooh, love Liberty Tree. For lunch or dinner?
For dinner.
For dinner. We usually only make dining reservations because we never know where we're going to be throughout the day. So we have a home base at the end of the day where we know we're going to be here, and then we decide if we're going to go to sleep or stay
out. What about Thursday, June the 12th?
Thursday, June 12th, we're going to Hollywood Studios. I actually made a mistake when I was booking our Lightning Lanes and didn't realize that we could book them until it was about noon that day. So a lot of the choices for Hollywood Studios were already gone. So
there's not that many choices to begin with. So, I mean, I feel like you might have run into that problem even if you were 15 minutes late to it.
That's true. That's a very good point. But I did get us Tower of Terror, Rise of the Resistance, and then Toy Story Mania. So I definitely think it's going to be a good time. They're a little bit later in the day than normal. So Haley and I are definitely park open people rather than park close.
Well, and I'm looking at what we have going on here, and our dinner reservation is at $5.50, and our Toy Story Mania is at $7. So I don't think that's gonna work out very well.
Where's your dinner reservation?
California Grill.
Okay, that might not work out. I thought you were talking about a dinner reservation in the park.
That's Garrett's birthday, so we're going fancy.
Oh, nice. Okay. So I'm going to say that Toy Story Mania, you might be able to get an earlier time on the day of if you just keep trying to modify. You could probably rope drop it and then move that to something else.
Yeah. I think that's probably what the goal is. Is that what you were thinking?
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Is the 12th your actual birthday?
Yes.
What does that make you in terms of your star sign?
Gemini.
Oh, yeah, Gemini.
Oh, Haley has feelings about that. What is it about Geminis?
I don't know. I'm just supposed to not like them, apparently.
Okay.
Well, there's a ton of Gemini hate out there. I didn't really know about it until I Googled like Gemini like positive traits, and it's basically none. Like there's none listed, but then for the negative ones, it's like two-faced, backstabbing, just terrible people to be around. And then when I tell people my birthday and they know like what star sign I am, they always roll their eyes or they're always like, "Oh, a Gemini."
Yeah.
And
I don't know anything about it. So.
I don't either. I just,
I'm a typical Virgo where I know about my own sign and I have not bothered to learn about anybody else's.
I'm a little Pisces and I cry about a lot of things.
I'm a little Pisces, short and stout.
Yeah.
Here is my star sign. Here, watch me pout. I don't know. All right. So moving on to Friday the 13th.
Oh, that's
What's
awesome.
the plan?
Yeah, we're going to Epcot on Friday the 13th.
Okay.
So
that's a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We got Frozen and a Guardians, which we'll probably rope drop Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, which is probably my favorite ride at Epcot, which is another unpopular opinion that I have. But I really like it. I think it's cute. So once again, going back into the dark ride guy thing, I think it's cute. It's fun,
So you only got those 2 single pass lightning lanes for this day?
And he has a Living with the Land and a Spaceship Earth? Oh, because Guardians is a fancy ride. Mm-hmm. Gotta buy it. Okay.
A fancy ride. Okay. Any dining plans on this day?
Yes, we have a Raglan Road for dinner.
New to us.
Oh, nice. Okay. I really enjoyed my time at Raglan Road. It is a lot of fun. I mean, are you a fan of Irish music, like fiddling and that sort of thing, and the Irish step dancing?
Yes, I've heard such good things about it, and it looks really fun. So I was like, we should give this a try. It's hard for us to make our way over to Disney Springs for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to really make it a intentional thing.
Mm-hmm. So, the only thing I would, I guess, caution you about is Disney Springs is going to be busy lots of days of the week, but Friday's
crazy.
It's going to be a little crazy. So just be aware and you'll be fine. Especially if you have a reservation, you'll be fine.
Yes.
All right. Saturday, June the 14th.
Saturday, we are going to my favorite park, which is Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
Another potentially bad opinion, depending on who you ask. But
it's a perfectly valid opinion. An opinion is an opinion. Whatever you like is what you like. Haley, what's your favorite park?
So I think I'm tied. I usually say that it's Hollywood Studios, literally just because of the breakfast Ronto wrap, but and the Black Calf Cold Brew. But I think that Hollywood and Epcot are tied for first for me.
Okay.
But I am a breakfast girly. Like, I have to have breakfast to survive until noon or even like 9 a.m. So that's a little tough in Epcot. So that's where Hollywood kind of pulls ahead. But they're tied up there for me.
Okay. Animal Kingdom, what are your multi-pass lightning lanes, assuming you have it that day as well?
Yes, so we do, but most of the time we don't end up using them. The only ones that we really use are Flight of Passage and the Navi River Journey. We book a dinosaur as well, but most of the time with Animal Kingdom, we're able to ride Dinosaur and Everest and the Safari usually before 9:30 or 10 in the morning, and we get all of them done at rope drop pretty much. So we don't necessarily use these lightning lanes, but I get them just because I want to secure a Festival of the Lion King as well as the Navi River Journey, because I think Navi River Journey is like fun. I love the animatronic at the very end, and definitely when it's functioning, it's worth it for me to go on it.
It's worth it, and I think that it's not worth it with a long line.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. Yeah. 9-year-long line. I wouldn't say so.
Any dining reservations on this day?
Yes, we are going to Tony's Town Square.
Okay. Have you been there before?
We have not.
Okay.
It's another new one. So
it used to get a lot of hate.
I know.
But it has had a turnaround.
That's what we heard. So we haven't gone until now because we've heard the haters. But then now we've heard the yayers.
The yayers. Yayer. Yeah. I have specifically heard that the garlic bread appetizer is really worth it. So I have not been back in, I think we went on Alex's very first trip, which was 2016. And I haven't been back since. But I need to make my way over there because I'm hearing good things about it. So I'll be interested to hear what you think.
This might sound silly, but I didn't realize it was a themed restaurant like Lady and the Tramp. Mm-hmm. I thought that it was just a like generic restaurant that existed at Magic Kingdom. So I wasn't really interested in it. And then I watched a YouTube video about it because of the redemption that it's going through. And when I watched the YouTube video, I saw the interior and I was like, oh, it's like fun and themed, like it's cute. So that always gets bonus points for me. And so that's one of the reasons I wanted to try it too, was because I realized that it was a themed restaurant rather than just a generic like Italian restaurant in Magic Kingdom.
He's a theme guy.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I'm like, were you an Imagineer in a former life?
I think so. I wish I could be one in a current life, but my path was a little different.
I bet you're a huge fan of all of the behind the scenes, like the Imagineering story and everything on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. I love those. It's it's one of those things where now that I have so many platforms to watch things on, I don't watch nearly as much as I would like. But if I had more time, I'd be watching it all the time. All right. Sunday, June the 15th.
Sunday, we are going back to Hollywood Studios.
Okay.
So you'll notice we go to Hollywood Studios quite a bit. The reason for that is because of the breakfast that Haley had mentioned before. Uh-huh. It is her favorite thing in the entire world. Every single trip we go on, it's like her number one thing.
It's like breakfast Ronto wrap or any form of like breakfast tachos.
Okay, so are you a Woody's Breakfast Bowl fan as well?
I actually haven't had a Woody's Breakfast Bowl because I always just get a Ronto wrap. But if
you're going twice.
Okay. I will do it.
Okay. So they're both really good. I am a huge fan of the breakfast Ronto wrap for sure. Mm-hmm. But my son Alex is obsessed with Woody's Breakfast Bowl. And it's like a tacho bowl. So it's the tots, and then it's got like sausage and scrambled egg and gravy and the little chopped up green onions on top. Mm. It's so good. It's so good that we, for the past few years, make it on Christmas morning. Like that is our Christmas morning breakfast, is Woody's Breakfast Bowl. And then we do other things too, but that's our main entree for Christmas morning.
That's awesome. We actually, in a recent trip, we went to, on our last day before our flight, we made a special trip over to Pop so that we could get a breakfast tacho bowl instead of going to Hollywood Studios. So I will go to Woody's Lunchbox.
Yeah, and they do have mobile order that you can use for that. And of course, because it's good, it gets built up. Whereas I feel like with the Ronto wrap, I don't know that not everybody likes the Ronto wrap. Like it is delicious, but I think to some people it's more adventurous. And
no, that makes sense.
I've never noticed like having a hard time to find somewhere to sit. Whereas at Woody's, pretty much any time of the day, it's hard to find a seat.
Apparently there's new seating, correct? Or they just covered it?
I think they covered parts of it.
Yeah, I believe they covered it.
Dang.
Which they needed to do because it was hot.
Yeah. So
All right. What lightning lanes do you have this day, or are you opting not to use it this day?
So we're using it. I am definitely a proponent of,
if you can do it, if it's something that you can afford and you feel comfortable doing it, we say for sure.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I also think that our first day in Hollywood Studios, the lightning lanes that we did get kind of conflict with our dinner reservation. And I know for me specifically, after eating California Grill and dressing nice, I'm going to want to go back to the resort and take a nap, or go to bed, actually, excuse me, not take a nap.
Take a nighttime nap.
Yeah, a nighttime nap. So I prioritized on this round getting earlier in the day lightning lanes that we would more than likely go to. So the first one that I actually have on here is for a first time in forever, the Frozen sing-along, which is kind of funny that I got that. But our general plan for Hollywood Studios is to rope drop Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And after we do that, we usually have a lightning lane for Slinky Dog and Toy Story Mania. So we don't necessarily need to worry about getting in line and waiting for those. So we can go to more of the not so popular attractions like Alien Swirling Saucer, the Frozen Sing-Along show, and then the Indiana Jones show as well. I actually think that the Frozen Sing-Along is a must-do for my trips. We have done it every single time that we've gone. I think that the Arendelle historians make the show. Yeah, they make the show so good. And there's two specifically that we call the real ones. I wish that we could meet them so that I could know their names.
Arya and Just Eric.
Yes, but that's the name every single time.
No.
Yeah, that's the name of the characters.
I think it is.
Yeah. Is it really?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm stupid.
Yeah, that's the name of the character.
No. You are so delightfully innocent thinking that was the real.
But there's two specifically that we love. And the past couple of times we've gotten them. And I think that the show is carried by them. So if you get good Arendelle historians, the show itself will be really good. So for me, it's definitely a must-do on all of our trips. I also was able to get us a Rise of the Resistance, which we ride. I would say we do it every other trip just because we've done it so much. The first time that I rode that attraction, I was blown away, like more than blown away. I think the attraction itself is one of the coolest things in Disney World. I'm a relatively big Star Wars fan. I'm more of an expanded universe. I'm going to get really nerdy for a second here.
That's okay.
I'm more of an expanded universe Star Wars fan rather than a Disney specific universe Star Wars fan. So a lot of what I find enjoyable about Star Wars isn't really in the Disney scene. And so for me, like when I heard about Rise of the Resistance, I was intrigued just because I love Star Wars, but I wasn't like, I have to do this. And that's how I feel about it now. I love it because it's Star Wars and I love Star Wars. However, if we didn't do it, I wouldn't necessarily feel bad about skipping it.
Right.
I enjoyed it the first time we rode it, and I had never seen Star Wars before yet. So
have you now?
Yes, I've watched them all. He and our friend Ethan made me watch them all.
He tied you to a chair and was like, "You're going to watch this."
Well,
yeah,
so
he forced me.
What we did is he came over every week for, I want to say 5 weeks, and we watched all the Star Wars in chronological order, and we would watch 2 movies a night and order dinner.
Wait, chronological order in like the years within the universe, not like we're watching 4, 5, 6, then 1, 2, 3?
Yes, correct. So within the years in the universe.
Okay, so you watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7,
Yes,
8, 9,
and
10,
then
11,
all the all the other like Rogue One and Solo and those one-off movies. But I definitely, like I said, I'm more of an expanded universe Star Wars fan. However, Rise of the Resistance, wonderful. We also were able to get a Slinky Dog Dash, which I think is probably the most fun roller coaster at Disney World for me, only because it's not too thrilling. You know, not a big thrill guy. It's a fun, cute little roller coaster that doesn't make me feel super sick. So I'm all for it. And then we also got a Toy Story Mania, which once again is just a ton of fun.
Are you too competitive on that ride?
Big time.
Who usually wins?
Well, I was going to say we're not really competitive because I win every single time. usually by like 50,000 points.
That's not true.
So
he's lying.
Yeah, we are competitive.
All right. Well, we shall see when we talk again.
Exactly.
Who actually ended up winning. Okay. Any dining reservations for this day?
Yes, girl. Woody's Roundup Rodeo BBQ.
Okay. Oh, so you for the first time in forever, you're going to stay in the park that you're visiting that day for your dinner. Okay.
Yes, Woody's is my favorite. The things I would do for those biscuits is crazy.
I feel like that's a t-shirt in the making. We'll do anything for biscuits. Do you have a Cricut machine? Could you make that?
I don't. I'm sure you could like order it on Redbubble or something like that.
You probably could, but the joy of having a Cricut machine is that you can just make whatever you want.
Yeah.
We are on to Monday, June the 16th.
Yes. So we will be going to Magic Kingdom on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Pirates of the Caribbean, a Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin, a Tron, and then a Tiana's. Okay. So Pirates is Haley's favorite ride at Magic Kingdom, I think.
Yes, that's true.
And so I usually try to at least get that once. The good thing about Pirates is it, like we went to Magic Kingdom tonight and we were able to ride it, and it was only about a 10-minute wait, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, and you just got to catch it at the right time of day.
Just keep an eye on it, and usually there's a lull, and you can pop on over and you can get on pretty easily.
Yeah, for sure.
We also have a Tron light cycle run, which I think it's the same thing with. It's similar to Rise of the Resistance. We usually get it every other time, and this happened to be an other time, so I went ahead and got it. I think it's cool. The only critique that I have of it is that it's a touch short. I wish that the ride was just a tad long. Yeah. That's being nice.
Yeah, it is real short.
It's real short. And then we have a Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which, once again, big theme guy. So I absolutely adore this ride. I think it's phenomenal. I enjoyed Splash Mountain, but when it existed, but I think that this is just an upgrade in every way. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, same. I really loved Splash Mountain, but I am more excited about Tiana. She is one of my two favorite princesses. So I love that she has her own ride, and it is just so cute. I mean, yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but yes. All right. Any dining reservations?
Another new one. So we are going to Storybook Dining.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So we have not been over there. It's another one of those that you kind of have to go out of your way if you're not staying there.
Right.
So that's something that we've wanted to do for a little while. And we were like, well, we'll be here for a while. So why not just take a little bit of extra time and pop on over there? So.
Yeah, that's a fun one. The character meet with the evil queen is so much fun. So just be prepared with something to talk to her about.
Yeah, we need to Google some questions to ask her.
Yeah.
That's always a safe bet. Just have some in the tank.
I was going to say, we've never done Storybook Dining, but I've watched a couple videos about it recently, and it seems like it's going to be really solid. I'm excited to meet the dwarves that we get to meet. I forget who all is there. But
I think it's just Dopey and Grumpy.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
And then you meet Snow White, of course.
Right. But like Haley was saying, we don't normally have a reason to go to Wilderness Lodge, and this gives us a reason to go to Wilderness Lodge. So I'm excited to actually check out Wilderness Lodge, because we've never been there before.
Oh, you've never set foot there?
No, never set foot.
No.
Oh my goodness. Lodge. Okay. Give yourself some time either before your meal or after your meal to just wander around. It's my home resort. I'm a Copper Creek girl.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I'm obsessed with it. It's so relaxing. You're so close to the Magic Kingdom. The boat only takes 7 minutes to get over there, but you feel like you're a world away. And just everything is different over there. You're at the other resorts and you see palm trees and that sort of thing. You go over to Wilderness Lodge, it's like all pine trees, and you just feel like you're in the middle of the wilderness. And one of my favorite things to do is to grab a drink at the Territory Lounge and then go up onto the second floor of the balcony. And they have like some, I want to call them hidden fireplaces. They're not hidden, they're fireplaces. But if you know where to find them, and just like sit in front of a fireplace and enjoy a drink, read my book, people watch over the edge of the balcony. It's so relaxing. So I'm sure you will stay there at some point in your DVC lives, but definitely check everything out while you're there.
It reminds me kind of what you just told me, your story of going out onto the balcony and enjoying a drink. It reminds me of when we stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge. Mm-hmm. We were able to, they have like a viewing area up and some rocking chairs on the second floor of the lodge, and you can sit there and watch like the animals. And that was one of my favorite things about staying there.
Yeah, if you're into vibes, top-notch vibes.
I love some vibes.
Yes. All right. That brings us to your last day, which is Tuesday, June the 17th. Is this a day when you were traveling back home to your real home for now?
Yes. So our flight is at like noon.
Okay.
So we do have a park reservation. We might.
That's ambitious.
No, I know it is. Just in case, you know.
Well, we normally do a park reservation on our last day. What I like to do at least is just like get up and like rope drop something to eat, whether that's breakfast or, you know, something like that. We're early risers in our everyday lives. So normally we're people that go to bed at like 8:30 or 9. And then we get up usually 6:30, 7 every day. Haley gets up a little bit earlier, and like, obviously I get up earlier for work, but on our days off, we are still early risers. So I like having a park reservation on our last day. It makes going home less sad, I think, because instead of, you know, you get to start, at least like your morning is spent at a Disney park before you have to go back to home. But it's our park reservations, Hollywood Studios, specifically for the Ronto wrap. So
we might need
of course it is.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. If you're going to have a park reservation on your last day and you're staying at the Riviera, that's an easy one to make.
Skyliner. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that's the thought, right? If we try and go all the way to Magic Kingdom and we have to go all the way back, that's going to be crazy pants. So we're just like, let's hop on the Skyliner. Maybe we'll Skyliner over to Pop Century and have one of their breakfast tacho bowls.
Or we could just go to Woody's Lunchbox and have the tacho bowl there.
Right. Or you could go to Riviera.
Yeah. Or we could go where we are. We could just stay where we are.
So many choices.
We could do Topolino's Terrace. Topolino's Terrace?
I always say Topolino's.
Okay. Topolino's Terrace.
But I've heard people say it both ways. I mean, it's Italian. I think it's Italian for mouse. So I would have to Topolino's. That was terrible. So I assume that you all have a rental car because of being there the week before. So do you need to return your rental car on this flight day?
Yes.
Okay. Do you need to check bags?
Yes.
Do you have TSA pre-check?
No.
But
you guys are making me nervous.
we use Orlando Reserve because I am a nervous person as well. With flights, I need to be there like 4 hours early. He is the complete polar opposite of me, so we meet in the middle. There is the Orlando Reserve. Do you know about that?
I do, but
the MCO Reserve.
I do. I have not used it because I'm TSA pre-check, but okay. Let's do some math here. Okay, so your flight's at 12. Boarding is 11:30. Because you're checking a bag, your bag needs to be into the airport in someone's hands at least an hour before your flight. So that's 11. To be safe, you really need to be there no later than 10:45, right? It's going to take you a half an hour to drive there. So that puts us at 10:15. So
it sounds like we have an hour and 15 minutes.
I'm actively looking for my phone to see if I can see what time our flight actually is, because I think it might be more like 12:55. So we might have another hour of wiggle room.
Either way,
we usually have this discussion and bargain with each other
like the night before. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I feel like you've probably had times where you've cut it real close, but it's always worked out for you. And so you have this overwhelming belief that it will always work out.
We really haven't had times that it would go close because I am the way that I am.
Okay.
Our flight was at like 3 coming down here, and I was ready at noon, sitting there waiting on Garrett to go, and he was still like at the gym.
That's different though, because you were so excited to go.
Well,
I'm anxious is the
I definitely think that it'll all work out.
Yeah.
Regardless of time constraints, because it's never not worked out.
That's what I'm saying is
Yeah.
You're basing it on past history, which I always say, not in terms of like making flights or something. For me, I always think about when I need to do something new, like at work or something, or if I need to do something that's challenging, I always say to myself, you've always been able to figure out other things. You'll be fine in this too. And I just base my past successes on why I think I'll succeed. And then I proceed there. I can't remember who said this quote, but proceed as if success is inevitable. And I used to have it on a magnet in my office. And now I have it here at home because we moved offices. But that's beside the point. So I get it. We'll see what happens. But what I was going to ask is, this is a Tuesday. Haley, do you have to work the very next day on Wednesday?
Sure do. I will be bright and
But
early.
Garrett does not, right?
I do not.
Okay. So like push came to shove, you have your computer with you. Could you work remotely? And if something happened, move your flight to like later in the evening?
Yes. And my boss is awesome, and she would be like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Usually what happens is I'll show back up to work on the day that I'm prescribed to be back, and she'll be like, I thought you were coming back tomorrow. I'd be like, well, I should have stayed home.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a non-issue if we did have to change our flights, but
okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, you're already living the dream there for this week, getting to know what ordinary life in Orlando might be like. And then you have this amazing trip lined up for next week. So I cannot wait to talk to you both all about it and find out how everything went. I specifically am excited about these newer things that you're trying so that we can hear about your experience with those and also whether you'll make your flight.
Well, we will definitely be sure to let you know.
Okay. All right. Well, have a magical trip, and I will talk to you when you get back.
Thank you so much.
Sounds good.
We'll
Thank
see
you.
you then.
Thank you so much to the Duckworths, Garrett and Haley, and thank you also to Garrett's mom, Denise, for pushing them to apply. Garrett and Haley's post-trip report episode is up next, so if you're subscribed to the show, hopefully it's already queued up and ready to go. Speaking of ready to go, I'm ready to go. So let's wrap this up. As always, keep daydreaming about where you long to be.